Hi guys, you're here with me, Jen, the Taxidermy Witch, and we just finished up making this lovely toxic, so it's only an anointing oil for flying, and so that's the video before this. Check that out if you didn't see it, but this video is on a death oil, and I'm finally going to use this deer jaw, so I'm excited about that. This video is completely inspired by Lady Gravedancer's death oil, but I've changed it up quite a bit, and so I think if you want to, and I think that you should, watch her video and then watch mine. I'm trying to make these oils while I've got my power. So yeah, I've got a lot to do in a short amount of time. I have a blue candle burning here for some psychic abilities. It's also why I've got the blue on here, but I've got the red on here for protection from attackers in psychic realms. And then, yeah, so enough talking about that, but I think it turned out beautiful. So, we've got the deer jaw in here, okay? I've cleansed the jar. On the outside of the jar, I'm going to write a symbol in my DNA. It's my own symbol. And I'm going to be putting in a cat whisker to ask for Bastet to be with me and help me with this oil. And I'm putting in a moth, a very large one that my cats brought to me, and then a smaller moth that was just kind of dead in the windowsill. This jar is all about death. We need to get as much death in there as possible. So I've got a big chunk of dead tree bark, which was fallen from the house I grew up at. They let us go get things from there, like from the farm and stuff, if we wish. And I always wish, so. You can grind it up. I'm going to be putting in just some whole chunks. I just break it, and then whatever breaks off, I feel like that's kind of what was meant to be in there. But it's a big jar, so I feel like we should get at least some good chunks. There we go. And now I've got two pieces. Now, death oil is an all-purpose oil. It does never, in my purpose, it does not mean death to someone. It means a death of something. A death of this terrible no-money streak in my life. A death of this friendship that is not going well. A death of me not studying for tests. Here's the end of it. I'm done getting F's on tests. You can put death oil on that old test, and then start a spell with death oil to beginning, you know, future grades of this. Write out some law of attraction and candle magic. Do it however you got to do it. Now, I will be putting in 3 sage chunks. They're like the little sage matchsticks at the bottom. But these are for protection and purification while I use this oil. This is a match I burnt myself on really hard, like it hurt a lot, and so I'm putting that in there just for a little pain element. I am putting graveyard dirt in, and this is from the west corner of the cemetery, and this is, let me just state, this is not from anyone's grave, this is just from the cemetery, okay? It's actually from a real graveyard. Difference between a graveyard and a cemetery. A graveyard has a little tiny chapel attached to the graveyard. A cemetery doesn't have a church, it's just the cemetery. Okay, so I'm putting in all of this dirt from the west corner of the graveyard because I collected it just for the spell. After I put the graveyard dirt in, I keep the cap on, you guys, in between. Now, when I make videos, I don't do the intention over each thing because before I do the video, I put my intention over each ingredient and then I do this for you. And I put a lot at the end. You can do it however you like, but this is the way I do it. But you should be spending a lot more time on these spells and these oils for spells than you see me do in the video. So please remember that. I need some more West Cemetery dirt. I'm putting in saffron. I'm going to be putting in 13 strands, and that's kind of a lot, but again, we have a giant jar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're sticky little suckers. Saffron's powerful. I've made up a whole video on the herbal benefits of saffron, so you should check that out if you've not seen it. It is a powerful magical tool. It is quite expensive, but just like in food, you don't need a ton to get the result that you want. I'm putting in a screw. I'm putting in sulfur. Ah! No, I just filled that jar. Why didn't I think of that? Sulfur is an ingredient that Lady Gravedancer definitely turned me on to. And it is something that she's like used in her family of witch, like she comes from a family of witches, and they've, like, she remembers her grandmother using it, but she uses it, she says, in almost everything. Kind of like the way I am with, like, mugwort and eyebright and stuff. So, but I've found that the sulfur is, like, a really, really wicked ingredient. It does amp things up quite a bit. Eyebright. Eyebright opens up psychic abilities, but it's one that I'm really fond of, and I like to use it for a lot of different things, to be honest. Death oil's not pretty, you know. I think I'm going to flip that jaw so that you can actually see the teeth. Okay, next, a chili we've grown from our garden and a habanero. I want this to have kick. Whew, those habaneros, the dried ones, are insane. Three red chiles that we've grown here at Juckshire Farms. That's the name of my husband's business of farm. Okay, the last thing we're adding is a part of your DNA. You can use fingernail clippings, you can use blood, you can use moon blood, you can use hair fresh from your head, okay? Anything you want. Make sure your symbols on it or something on the outside that you, however you want to do that. Whatever you feel. You'll figure out things you really like doing, you know. And that's what you should do. Have your own little rituals and traditions with it. Definitely suggest that. So, now we really just need the oil and then the candles on top. So, I flipped it so that we can see the jawbone because we're only putting the oil up like this high. Because, guys, that's a lot of oil. I am going to pour it all over this jaw piece though as I pour it in. Because I want that taxidermy to really be a part of this oil. I've got more olive oil in the kitchen. So you can fill this up however how you like. I definitely need more in mine, obviously. And you will actually be able to use this jawbone as a stirrer. So when you open it and you want to stir up the oil, you can just stir it like this. You know, because you've got a lot of ingredients in there you need to stir up. The dirt, the DNA, the iodide, all of it, right? So this is toxic anyway. I'm going to throw some mandrake root in there because it's just one of those things I like to have in. Look, death oil isn't pretty. Looks like mud. Looks like mud. I don't know. Should we flip it back? I feel like you wouldn't see the teeth if you did that. Mandrake. I just put you away. Mandrake's poisonous. Don't touch it. That's enough. Thank you, William. Okay. So, now we need to makes kind of a cool sound, doesn't it? Look at that. Yeah. But that's going to be a really cool, potent anointing oil. I don't need to hang a charm from this because I know what it is from this, but you could hang like a skull from it or something to represent death. Okay, so the candles I'm going to burn on top are gold for my goddess Bastet. However, I just wanted to show you when you burn the gold ones, it comes out white down the side, so don't expect to have some like beautiful gold. And then a black one. Black because death, and then gold because goddess. And I'm hoping to burn these three all like this with the circle one there too. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to write in some law of attraction into the candle right now. And I wanted to make sure I showed you that. So, you want to write it in future tense, you guys. So, this oil it is so hard for me to find black candles. I've been saving this one for the death oil. If you guys know of a cheap way to get black taper candles, please, please, please let me know. This oil has brought death to all situations. See, not people, situations. To all situations it has been asked to assist in. Where are we at time-wise? Oh, we're doing good. And both safely and promptly. Because you want to get your safety in there. And then you can do some symbols. And I like to write "so mote it be." I know not everybody does, but to me it kind of just feels good to say. I don't like to say "blessed be," and I should do a whole video on why I also don't want anyone to say it to me. And if you do, like, it's totally fine, but I ask that you don't, because it's a fertility blessing. It's like, there's a whole history to it, but basically you're saying, like, it's kind of like a Christian saying, "I'll pray for you," when you don't really want that. In my opinion. But you guys, you could say it to me as much as you want. I know that you're just being kind, but honestly, it's like a fertility wish behind it, and I don't need fertility. Thank you, though. So I write, "so mote it be." And then I ask my guides, be with me and hear my candle prayer and help me create this. So mote it be. Okay. So I've just got my inscriptions all down the side of the candle there. And I don't need to do any on here. I'm not using this candle because it's already been lit. I'm doing fresh candles because my goddess, Bastet, really likes only fresh things. So that's fine, I get it. Not everybody likes used clothes. However, this black wax will burn and look really wicked. I'm hoping, because I only have one black candle. And the other wax is just kind of clearish white. Yep, it's kind of dripping like a purplish black. You just need enough wax there for the candle to stay. And I've seen a lot of people warm the butt of the candle, but I just do it this way, really. And it's the black one that I'm going to play around with. Is that going to stay? I don't think so. Needs more. The black one's the one I'm going to play around with and do some pretties on the outside of the jar with, and some drippings and stuff. So, and get creative with it. See if you just like, I'll try and show you. Let something run down the jar. Make sure you're on a tablecloth that, you know, your spouse, yourself, or your mom don't care about. But when you undo this jar, you know, if you put it up here on the rim, it's going to come off, which is fine, but. And if you don't want any drips on the jar, don't do it. That's fine too. I just think it looks cool, it looks old school, you know, looks witchy. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed my death oil. If you have any questions on how to use it, this is really just for anointing and for puppets because it has mandrake root in it, so it's poisonous. I'll repeat that again. It has mandrake root. It's a poisonous. You do not apply it to your skin. Only in anointing candles for candle magic. Anointing means rubbing it on the outside. And you can use it to anoint doll babies or puppets or doll babies or whatever you'd like to call them. And you could do that too. So, hopefully that will stay. Thank you for joining me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, while we made this beautiful death oil that's inspired by Lady Gravedancer. And come back because the next thing we're doing is we're going over the October calendar, and we're going to be reading through some Scary Stories books, and I don't know, loads else though. We've got lots going on, you guys. All my love. Make sure to check out the Toxic Magical Flying Oil for anointing and puppets that's just finished. And then also my death oil. Alright guys, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, thank you for coming back.